Hi everyone, welcome. We'll go ahead and get started. My name is Kate Featherston. I'm an Associate Dean of Admissions here at Bowdoin College. I'm also a Bowdoin alum, and I am the QuestBridge Liaison for the admissions office. So I'm really excited to not only introduce you to Bowdoin today, but also to the QuestBridge process, answer a couple questions about applying to Bowdoin through QuestBridge, and also introduce you to a current QuestBridge scholar, and we'll have some Q&A time with our current student towards the end of the presentation. But before we get started, I want to do a brief presentation about what Bowdoin is, where we are, and what we offer before talking a little bit more about the QuestBridge application and getting into the student Q&A. So we'll go ahead and get started. Bowdoin College is a historic campus. It was founded in 1794, so before Maine was actually a state, which is kind of wild. We are a liberal arts college, and we're located on the coast of Maine. We have just under 2,000 total students, and our campus itself is pretty compact, pretty easy to walk from end to end in about 10 minutes or so, and we really embrace our connection to Maine, to nature, and to the communities that surround us. Starting off first, you may be wondering what I mean when I say that Bowdoin is a liberal arts college. Liberal arts colleges are different from one another, but there are some commonalities, and some things that liberal arts colleges have in common are listed here. The big one is that we have a broad curriculum, so you can study everything from science and math to the languages, to humanities, social sciences, and kind of everything in between. Our curriculum is meant to be one of exploration, so you can take classes in lots of different disciplines while you're here. Liberal arts colleges also tend to have pretty small class sizes. At Bowdoin, our average is under 20 students. You're really going to get to know your faculty members pretty well here. Colleges like ours tend to be pretty residential as well. So we have 95% of our students will live on campus all 4 years. So this is a place where you kind of live and grow together in community with other students. And liberal arts colleges also do research and also have opportunities in the sciences, and our 40 plus different majors and minors all offer some form of research or independent study that you can pursue as a student while you're here. And something that is also really great about liberal arts colleges is that our graduates go on to do really fantastic things, and twice as many graduates of liberal arts colleges go on to attain terminal degrees, so a PhD in their fields, compared to graduates of other schools. And we'll talk a little bit more about how our curriculum prepares students for those opportunities in just a moment. So where is Bowdoin? We're located right up there at the top of the continental US, that blue dot right there. We attract students from all over the country and all over the world. Here's a map of where students are coming from in the US, but we also have about 10% of our students coming from international locations. We're really creating a microcosm of the world here in Brunswick, Maine. And right down the road from Brunswick is Portland, which is Maine's largest city. It's about 30 minutes away from campus. It's a creative and vibrant small city with amazing restaurants, concerts, cultural events. Students will often go down to see a show or to go to the Portland Museum of Art or get some dinner with friends. It's accessible to students from campus on the Amtrak train. There's also buses, both local and private services, that are able to take students to Portland, as well as points farther south, like Boston or even New York City. Something that's important to know about Bowdoin is that we were founded for the mission of the common good, which is this idea that institutions like Bowdoin should compel their students to really use their degree and their education, not as the end goal, but really as the means to contribute to their communities, to really make a difference in the world around them. And students really take this to heart, whether that's what they're studying on campus, how they spend their time while they're here, or what they do after they graduate. Common good comes across in everyday life too. So whether that's just respect in the classroom or kindness and empathy, students really embody what it means to be a member of the community while they're here, but also after they leave. To share a little bit more about academic life on campus, you can see from this list of our most popular majors that it really doesn't concentrate in one area or another. Our students are really studying across the gamut academically. And we really do encourage students to pursue their passions regardless of their areas of interest. It's also not uncommon for students to have multiple passions while they're here and maybe double major or major and minor. About 47% of our students will declare a double major while they're here. We really take an interdisciplinary approach to the liberal arts. We want you to be able to study across our curriculum. And speaking of that interdisciplinary approach, Bowdoin's curriculum really allows students to take courses in all of our departments. You can see some of these are things that are not really offered at high schools. So it's your opportunity to engage in course content that you may never have heard of before, or you may never have had the opportunity to engage with. And we really encourage you to sample across this curriculum. Bowdoin liberal arts education can include everything from computer science and neuroscience to art history and education. And we have what we call distribution requirements, which ask you to take classes across our disciplines, but don't dictate which those classes are. So it's a way for students to have a more open curriculum with a lot of structure as well to make sure that you're on track for the next steps after graduating. There are also a lot of opportunities outside the classroom that are able to be pursued by our students, whether that's faculty mentored research, fellowships, internships, study abroad. Students really take their learning outside of the traditional classroom and prepare for their life after Bowdoin in many different ways. And because you have such small class sizes, you really get to know your professors. They become not only your teachers, but also your mentors, folks that can help you really understand what you'd like to do after graduating, but also what your academic passions are while you're here. Our small class sizes also mean that your professors can make the learning work for the content that they're trying to teach. Instead of being confined to a lecture hall, they're able to take their class out on a field trip if that makes sense for the curriculum that you're learning, or to really mix up the way that you learn in a hands-on way if that makes the most sense for the course content. And we also make sure that beyond academics, beyond the classroom, that you are supported as a full person while you're here. We really want to make sure that you have resources available to you starting day one. We want to make sure that you're supported before you come to campus in the admissions process, while you're here, and also once you leave. This is a list of many of the support systems present on campus. I'd love to highlight a couple that are housed at Ladd House, which is a house on campus that has many different student life offices as well as affinity group spaces. It has the Center for Multicultural Life. It has SWAG, which is our Sexuality, Women, and Gender Center, as well as Thrive, which is our First Gen Center. And having all of these offices in one space, there are also lots of social spaces in that house. Really gives these organizations, these offices, the opportunity to do a lot of collaboration and for student groups to really work with the professional staff at those offices to collaborate on really fun events for the campus community, but also to gain support and find different ways to really understand their time on campus. We also have something called the Digital Excellence Commitment that I want to make sure we talk about, which is a program at Bowdoin where every student, regardless of financial need, will receive a MacBook Pro, an iPad Mini, an Apple Pencil, and the full suite of software that you'll need to be able to use those devices. And the point of this is that we want to make sure that every student is able to have the technology that they need to be successful in the classroom, to collaborate with other students as well as their faculty members. And these are also yours to keep when you graduate. After graduation, our students often go on to live the mission of the common good. That doesn't mean that every student goes on to work in nonprofits or in public service, though many students do. Here's a sampling of some places where Bowdoin graduates work in the nonprofit world. They're teachers, they're foreign service workers, they work in environmental policy, the State Department, tons of different organizations. Many of our graduates also go on to work at or found or sit on the boards of some of the most impactful organizations in the world. Some of those are listed here. These are some employers of Bowdoin graduates. Bowdoin education really is one that's flexible and adaptable, but also asks to hold you to a higher standard. So it allows you to be successful and creative and visionary in the business world, but also be incredibly socially responsible. And many of our students also go on to graduate school after graduating. About 20% of the most recent graduating class went to grad school right after leaving Bowdoin. These are some graduate schools that enroll the most number of Bowdoin alumni. Bowdoin's really rigorous curriculum, our small class sizes, and the ample research opportunities while you're here really prepare the students to be successful in these programs right away. And now we'll briefly cover what QuestBridge is and what the application looks like before we turn to the QuestBridge Scholar experience at Bowdoin. So QuestBridge is an organization that connects high-achieving students from low-income backgrounds with top colleges like Bowdoin. Bowdoin is just one of many partners. There are 55 partner colleges this year. Some are small, like Bowdoin College. Some are much larger. Some are kind of in between. Lots of different types of institutions, both undergraduate serving institutions, but also research universities. Lots of different options. The biggest part of QuestBridge is that they offer something called the National College Match application, which is an application that provides a little bit extra space for students to tell their story and is one of just several applications that we accept in the first year application process. The application is a little bit longer than some others that you may be completing, so definitely start early. QuestBridge has some really fantastic resources and tips on their website for how to navigate the college match, how to prepare your essays. The application opens in August and is due in September. I would definitely go on the QuestBridge website to look at the deadlines to make sure that you are on track. But if you match with a school, you are considered for a full 4-year scholarship that covers tuition, housing, and food, in addition to other expenses. And the QuestBridge website is the best resource for questions about with program eligibility and really understanding what QuestBridge might offer you. At Bowdoin, we've been a QuestBridge partner since the early 2000s, and today there are over 100 plus students on campus that are either match scholars or affiliated with QuestBridge. We also have a thriving QuestBridge Scholars Network chapter, which is kind of like a QuestBridge student club. It really is a place for students to celebrate and come together in community. We also have other ways that QuestBridge scholars may connect with each other. One is the Center for Multicultural Life, Thrive, as I mentioned before, which is our first-gen low-income organization or office on campus. Both of those offices offer mentorship, advising, community events, programming to really ensure that students feel at home on campus and have the resources that they need to succeed. And with that, I think we'll go ahead and do a quick Q&A. There are some great questions in the chat. If folks joined late, Anastasia, would you mind just introducing yourself once again, just to make sure that folks are comfortable asking you questions?
So I was a QuestBridge Match Scholar from the 2022 cycle. So I'm currently a rising senior at Bowdoin College. I'm an Asian Studies and Economics double major, and I minor in Africana Studies. You guys can ask me like absolutely any questions from QuestBridge to things that may not be related. I'm happy to be a resource for all of you guys. Thank you for being here.
Awesome. So there are already some great questions in the chat. I also have some that I wanted to start with. So I think the biggest one I have for you is, as you were sort of in the shoes of the folks that are on the call tonight, way back in the day, if you want to put on the hat of a high school senior, how did you find out about QuestBridge, and why did you ultimately decide to apply through QuestBridge?
So I had a very unique experience, and it was that my friend actually told me about QuestBridge, and it was back in 2022, so this was not that long ago, 3 years ago. I never heard of QuestBridge, and QuestBridge has been around for, I guess, 20-ish years. So it's been around for like a decent amount of time, but I never really heard about it. So I didn't think it was like a legit program, thinking like, why would I get a full ride based on this? So I was really hesitant to apply at first, but once I started looking at the application, I started thinking like, I knew nothing about colleges. I had no idea where I was going to go. I'm actually from Alabama. So a lot of the schools that are partnered with with QuestBridge were like NESCAC schools like Bowdoin. So I never heard of them coming from the South. As I looked through the catalog, I really started like liking like all the schools, and I was like, wait, this is a really good way to match me, like a nice bridge. And it just felt like they were gonna do more work for me than me myself. Like I did the little work that they wanted me to do, and they would take on the rest and like match me with people or like programs and like give me the right material. So I thought this is really nice as a high school senior that's already like freaking out about college. So I decided to do QuestBridge because I thought this was a like fantastic program for someone that genuinely doesn't know what they want to do. It doesn't really hurt to apply. It does more than just like it doesn't hurt you at all. Like I thought it was really helpful. I One reason I chose Bowdoin was because as I read through the catalog, this was the statistic in 2022. It said 52% of students studied abroad at Bowdoin, and so that really like stuck with me. So reading these catalogs really did like help me situate like what schools do I really want to rank. So I did QuestBridge just based on the lack of college knowledge and also just that I didn't really know if I wanted to go to college, and this was like a good program for me. So I hope that answered.
And you just brought up a topic that someone has a question about in the chat, which was study
Oh.
abroad. Can you talk a little bit more about what your experience was like and how your scholarship at Bowdoin kind of worked with your study abroad program?
Yeah, so I didn't think that your financial aid traveled with you when you studied abroad, but it 100% does. Whatever your financial aid package is, it they work with you. I had a budget. We all have there's lettered for financial aid staff members. So my financial aid person worked with me and gave me a budget because the university I went to, which is in South Korea, was Seoul. It was in Seoul. I went to Yonsei University. So the budget was a bit different for Bowdoin versus like Yonsei, a big university. So we worked on what it would look like because there was no meal plan. Housing was different. A lot of things were different. I had to pay health insurance, etc., adult stuff, but it carried with me and I really liked it. So I felt like really babied by Bowdoin in a way. I felt like I didn't have to do like a lot of big things because Bowdoin like gave me the money for it. So I felt like I was at Bowdoin, but in a whole different country. Obviously, Yonsei is nothing like Bowdoin, but the partners that are there are CIE, which was like the program I was with specifically. They are so used to all these students coming from these schools that like it felt like off-campus study, but in a whole different country. So it was really nice. I felt like I was way prepared. They get you in your sophomore year and start the application process, getting your visa, looking like what country do you want to go to, what type of program, because there are multiple programs for many countries. Some have language requirements, some don't. So they want to know that you're prepared. Anything, they just want to make sure you have all your documents right. So when it comes to your junior year, which is the most popular year to study abroad, um, that you're ready and set because it's most popular to go in either your fall or your spring. Some people like to go abroad for the entire year. Some people have even gone abroad in their senior year. It's not unknown. I've heard some people even gone abroad in their sophomore year, but that's a little bit unknown. But they prepare you for it in your sophomore year at the off-campus study. It's like really good at like making sure you're not really scared because I've never been out the country before. So that was like like a nice little like motherly figure to have behind me as I was like figuring out this process.
Great. I'm so glad you had that experience and were able to kind of bring that back to we were talking about this the other day
Mhm.
and it sounds like it was super impactful for you.
Yeah.
Um, we have a few different questions sort of about your transition to Bowdoin as a student that is from a place that's a little far from Maine. Can you
Yeah.
talk to us a little bit about what your transition from Alabama to Maine was like?
Yeah, so it's a 100% different climate. I was really nervous, but I was originally born in Connecticut. So my family's from Connecticut, so my mom knows a lot about the North. She properly prepared me for the types of things that I would need, such as getting me like really good winter wear. And I was lucky enough for my mom to buy me a really good jacket. Bowdoin does have a funding for first years, so I'd recommend like using it in your first year because once your first year ends, like you can't really access it. You get a funding to get you like a nice jacket. I've had one of my friends, QuestBridge Scholar, he was able to use this. He was coming from a US territory, like a water, it was Saipan, and he was able to use that funding to secure him a nice jacket because he's not really used to weather like Maine's, which was really nice. There's also like a boot fund as you got to trek through the snow. And I think for the boot fund that may be available all the years, but I'm not too sure. I would say like in your first year, you would get it, you might as well get it then. So it like lasts you like throughout your college experience. But it's been really nice transitioning into the climate. It hasn't been really scary. honestly, like walking across campus isn't really hard because at 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. they're trekking the snow off the sidewalks. Unless it starts snowing throughout the day, like they can't help that, but they trek it out before you even start your class. So you can walk on like a clean slate of sidewalk. Obviously there'll be ice and snow around you, but they make sure that you're safe at all times, that the roads are drivable. Classes aren't really canceled because it's not like to the point where it impedes your ability to go to class. It's just really cold, and some people may be shocked by it. As you're like getting used to college, you're coming to a climate that like many people are not used to it at all. So you all together are like excited to see the snow. So if you have like any like qualms about like, oh, am I able to transition into this like climate? Trust me, there are a lot of people that are in the same boat and you really do get used to it, genuinely. I was scared at first because I thought the cold would make it like miserable for me, but genuinely it doesn't. I love seeing the snow. It's really beautiful. It never gets old. And we have all four seasons here, so you really get to experience like the entire like just the it's just amazing. Like I really do like it. But I would say like I did have problems with seasonal allergies, but my body had to adapt and get used to it. So that's something to also consider, like coming from like a hotter climate to a colder climate is like how will your body adapt? Do you have the right like needs and necessities to like help you navigate through it? So I wouldn't come underprepared. I would come very prepared and probably overestimate it. And then once you see it, you'll be like, okay, I can genuinely get used to this. And they take care of you, like the school takes care of you and makes sure that like, you're not gonna freeze, like you're gonna be fine. The buildings are heated, it's safe, and I love it a lot.
I appreciate your perspective. Yeah, as also a Bowdoin student from a place that was farther away, Maine winters are different than other winters. They last a little bit longer. The snow tends to be a lot wetter, which is great for building forts and building snow bears. Almost every year there will be somebody that builds a snowman, but it's actually a snow bear, because our mascot is the polar bear, which I find so fun. We've got a lot of fun kind of community questions, if you wouldn't mind answering. One of them is, what are some things you love about Bowdoin?
I love answering this question because I love how safe it is around here. It's really safe. The community is really friendly and they're very intentional. The community really interacts with like the students here. They'll come and walk their dogs. Professors will do their daily walks because they live around campus. It's just like such a lovely community. And specifically, I guess I want to touch more on like the professor-student relationship. In my first year seminar, I got to do a barbecue with my teacher and got invited to her house, which I thought was really nice. I was always worried that it'd be hard for me to like break barriers and like get to know my professors on a personal level because I really love interacting with my professors and getting to know them. And they like all their time is really dedicated to, and it's like shown through their office hours, their intention in class, outside of class. Like they will meet with you outside of their hours just to chat with you about life, post grad, like absolutely anything. So going to my teacher's house and having a barbecue was so nice. I would go to her office hours to ask about papers, but sometimes we'd get off topic and just talk about like anything. I've had my teacher come on campus during a break just to chat with me just about like what going abroad was like. She was just so interested that she's like, "Are you on campus?" She just met with me 3 weeks ago. My teacher met with me to bring me to the cafe and buy me a drink and talk about post grad because I was nervous about post grad opportunities going into the real world. So I feel like the professor student relationship has been one of my most memorable things here, and I really like it because it's like there's no imbalance. It's like we're all equals here, and it's like shown through the community. It's like really nice. They treat you like young adults, get the same respect back, and I feel like I could truly like be myself with my professors without feeling like they're my professor and only my professor. Like I can see them as like a friend as well.
And you touched on this a little bit, but have you gone into Brunswick much? So Brunswick, for folks who are less familiar, is the town that we're in. Have you gone into Brunswick much? Is there good food? How do you interact with folks that live in town? What is the kind of like town college relationship like?
So I guess like fun fact is in my first year, me and my roommate started our own cleaning business. So we got to know the local area quite well. My first client, she had a lot of Airbnbs in the local area. So I got to meet a lot of different people coming to Brunswick and that live in Brunswick. And they're really, really nice. Like they love Bowdoin students and they're really friendly because they know we're coming from all over. So they're really helpful. When I was at the gas station, it got the 7-Eleven around the down the street is not there anymore, but I had had locals come up to me being like, hey, your car looks low. I just want to make sure your tires are all right. So when the snow hits, this is going to be a really like hard year. And I was like, that is just so kind of him to just come up to me and like have me like make sure my car's fine because he knows I'm young and old and I like really don't know anything about cars. So I thought that was really, really fun. And he invited me off to a barbecue as well. I didn't get to take him up on the offer because I was really busy around the time, which I thought was really nice. The local like area has a lot of different cuisines and I really like it. My favorite is one that's kind of off campus because I do have a car. It's Best Thai Express. It's this Thai food place, which is like on the like a different area from Brunswick. It's still in Brunswick, but it's not that far. You can definitely take a taxi over there. Everything is really accessible. The town has so many restaurants, different types of stores. There's a grocery store that's really, really close. It's Hannaford's. And a lot of students go there to buy groceries, but most students stay on the meal plan. Like there's different types of the meal plan, like 21 meal swipes, 14, 10, 9. But in your first year, you stay on the 21 plan. But most students like to go to Hannaford's to get some snacks, but we have the C store. But some students want like more variety and they also want to check out what Hannaford's has because I've never heard of Hannaford's before when I came up here. So that's really nice. The stores around here range from like anywhere to I guess like touristy shops to book shops, terror shops, like candle shops, like pet shops. It's a wide variety of like different types of places that students like to go hang out and like eat food, study in the cafes. The Amtrak is right off campus, like immediately. It shoots you straight down to Boston North Station in 3 hours and 20 minutes. It's inexpensive. It's really convenient. Students can do a day trip there. So the local community in interacting with Brunswick has been really, really easy and like navigating it has been like really, really stress free. They have farmers markets in the summer. The locals have a lot of events and they love like interacting with the Bowdoin students and just the local community. But everyone here has been really friendly and nice. And going back to my car example, they look out for the young adults here and know that like we're novice. So it's really friendly. It's kind of everyone says hello to each other. They don't treat you as a stranger. And I really, really like that, especially coming from the South with Southern hospitality and like seeing that same culture, but in the North has been like really, really nice for me.
Right. And kind of continuing on the community aspect, what are some clubs or activities that you've been involved in, and how have you found community on campus?
Yeah. So my cleaning business took up a lot of my time in my first 2 years, so I wasn't able to explore so many clubs. But I did get involved with our McKean Center for Common Good, which was being a teaching assistant at Mount Ararat. I'm mispronouncing it. It's the local like middle school that's a little bit in Thompson, but I chose it because I could drive there, but there's one that's really close that you can walk to. And I got to volunteer my time helping a seventh grade English teacher, just being a regular teaching assistant. And it was really nice getting to meet the kids. I did that for my second semester of sophomore year. There's a lot of opportunities to get involved with the local community. One of the local like interns at the admissions office, she does this thing called multilingual mainers, which she speaks Spanish with I think local middle schoolers or elementary school students. And I also have seen like some students get involved with like some nonprofit organizations just around the local area, such as like my friend this summer, she goes and volunteers her time at like an animal shelter, which is like just down the street to get involved with like the local animals. I guess for more volunteer opportunities, since I don't know too many, there's a lot. The McKean Center advertises a lot. Like you can help people file their taxes. Like it's like a whole lot of stuff. I just haven't been too like keen on knowing exactly what it is because I've been so busy with like my cleaning business. But there's ample opportunities to like indulge in the local community, like in many different ways and aspects.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And I think you mentioned this, but you're getting involved with the QuestBridge student group next year. What are clubs like on campus? Like, how do people get involved with clubs?
Oh yeah, I forgot to say I'm gonna be the treasurer of the QuestBridge Club on campus next semester. Kids get on clubs basically by like we'll have like a big club fair and you just walk around going to each table. You just sign your email and you'll get the emails and you get to choose whether or not you want to continue with the club or not. It's very low stakes. For some clubs that I've heard of, like the Tea Club, the Art Club, I was in some economic elite clubs, such as the Polar Investment Club, Smart Women Securities, and the Finance Society. And for the Polar Investment Club, there's many different ranges of things that you can do, such as being like an analyst, a board member, doing pitches. for the Smart One Securities, you listen to a lot of speakers in the fall semester to get like career experience and to just know what it's like post grad or like just connect with alumni and industry people. And then in the second semester or the spring semester, you do a pitch, which a lot of students really love because it gives them like really good soft skills and just kind of like dips their toe in the water for like the career aspect of what a pitch looks like in the finance tech industry. The Finance Society helps like connect you with like alumni as well as like opportunities that are going on, such as internships and like full-time employment. And I've also been in the Japanese Student Association as a general member. And for the affiliation clubs on campus, they are open to absolutely everybody. You do not have to apply to be in like the Korean Student Association, like or anything, or like any type like the the Asian Students Association as well. They have a lot of events that they advertise and you could just go there. Sometimes they'll have boba, the local like Japanese food like eswatami. They'll be sponsored by like Wild Oats, which is also like another place in Brunswick, and they'll have people just come in, eat, chat, get to know each other, and host a lot of things. So you don't have to necessarily join a club, but they'll always be hosting events to like get you involved with like the local community and like the students in the area as well. And it's like really fun. And it's really low stakes as well. And you get to make food too. It's really good and I really like it a lot. I hope that does that answer? I hope.
Yeah, it was sort of like a snapshot into what campus life looks like. So I really appreciate that. There are a lot of questions generally about the QuestBridge application. I think that's definitely on folks' mind right now. Any advice you might give for someone completing the application, as someone who's successfully done it before?
For the application, I was just truly myself. I really had fun with the college process for QuestBridge specifically. Like some of the questions on there I thought were really fun and I wanted to do my own spin on it. So just writing essays, like one of my essays or my short questions was like, how would you describe yourself? I generally don't remember the questions, but I just remember one time I was talking about how like my friend said I was like the epitome of a my zodiac sign. And I just talked about how I thought that was just like so lovely and so nice because it was like the utmost like compliment because she's really into astrology. So I talked about that and then I talked about like some other like really funny stories. I even referenced like Mario in one of my supplemental essays. And I guess like just being really, really like authentic stood out. And I think that's like what really matters is just having fun with it and being yourself. And the right college will pick you. Like the college that really likes your energy and that you like answering their questions and their energy, like it'll be like a perfect match for the both of you. So I say with the application process, like just truly be yourself. Don't feel like you have to conform to a specific like question or answer. They really tell like that you had fun with it and that you really intentionally thought out how to answer the question. And I think like and especially in this day and age now, like I think so too as well, like how authentic you are. So I say like truly have fun. It's easy to say have fun because it's a really stressful process. But I say like with the QuestBridge application because it's like being sent out to all the schools, like truly have fun with it. And the college that like that matches with you is wants you because they really liked how you shine through your application. So I say that, but obviously it's harder to put it in practice, but I truly do think like I had fun with it and that's probably why like I enjoyed it so much.
Great, thank you. And there's a couple questions that are more like admissions questions, so I'll answer those. One of them is, if you don't match through QuestBridge, are you still able to be admitted through early or regular decision? And the answer is yes. So if you don't match to your QuestBridge schools that you put on your list, you are able to roll over your application into other rounds with colleges that you're interested in. Every college is a little bit different with what they require, but at Bowdoin, you can use your QuestBridge application to apply in another round, so you don't have to complete a new application. You would just let us know that you'd like to apply through the early decision or through regular decision, and we're able to use that application in another round. And not matching does not mean that you're not competitive for colleges. It's a very competitive process. So I know there's a lot of anxiety around what happens if I don't match. If you don't match, there's still several more rounds of admissions process. See. There are some questions about do you and feel free if you don't feel comfortable answering this, totally up to you, but the question is a couple different ones around do you feel like your experience at Bowdoin is different because you're a QuestBridge scholar, or is it the same as a student who, say, is just not affiliated with QuestBridge. How has that really impacted or not impacted your experience on campus?
I don't really feel different from anybody here specifically. People don't know you're a QuestBridge scholar unless said out loud. Everyone here treats everyone like the same no matter where they're coming from in their socioeconomic background. Like to be more specific, I haven't really felt like I've had to say I'm a QuestBridge student on campus. Like it's really accepting here. Um, so I guess like no, I haven't really had to say anything. Like I've told people like, oh, I'm a QuestBridge math scholar, and they're like, oh, really? Sometimes they know QuestBridge, sometimes they don't. But that's how it's been so far. Like I haven't really like had to talked about it, and I've never talked about it in a negative light. I've when I talk about it or whenever anyone talks about it, it's always like positive and really informative. But usually like I've never felt different from a regular student at Bowdoin, or any other student at Bowdoin, to be more specific. It's just like just how that's just my process of how I got to Bowdoin was just through the college match scholars.
Yeah, great. And there are a couple questions just about like kind of life on campus, couple about food, couple about dorms and residential life. What is it like to like actually live at Bowdoin?
I had a really unique experience. I live with four other girls in a quint. So I'm so used to being by myself. So coming to a room with four other girls was really scary at first. But I think that's what truly helped me transition to this new place because as I said, like I'm coming from Alabama, it's such a different climate. So having these four girls like be on my side and being able to just like have a group of just all different people to like congregate with at the end of the day about like what it's been like. And they were all such different majors. And it was really nice to have people to take classes with because we would all take our distribution requirements together in different like subjects that we were interested in, which was really nice. You become super close with your floors. I don't really know anyone that didn't really get close with at least one other dorm in their floor. I got really lucky. My entire floor, we're all so close. I just had dinner with two of my floor mates actually like an hour ago from my first year, both from different rooms. It's you stay the people that you meet in your first year truly like set you up for like what your Bowdoin life is like. And obviously you make new friends as you go, but it really like helps showcase like people are trying to stay your friend the entire time. And it's like really fun that they want to really get to know you and like deep dive into your life. Being a student on campus has been like really like nice because I get to control my schedule. Like next semester, I start all of my classes at 1 p.m. So last semester, I think I started at 10 a.m. So I love the flexibility on top of like when clubs meet as well. They don't really conflict with your academics at all. So for some students that may like love a work-life balance, like I have found it to be so nice because you could get to control like how many clubs you're in, I sometimes how many classes you're taking because you take four, but some people take three and some people can take five. And even then, some students feel like it's not as heavy of a workload. It depends on the types of classes you pick as like for the four as well. Like it's very dependent. But student life has been really nice. I loved res life in my first year. I loved my proctor and RAs. I'm going to say it plural because the entire floor of my proctors, I got to know like every single proctor really well when they were like on duty, and they're really nice, and they do floor dinner if I remember it correctly, which is like every Sunday where you eat with your floor, and it's not required, but it's really nice because it's like you're just eating with a group of friends that you can't get to eat with like every single day because y'all are all like so like busy doing like your different like things because you're exploring Bowdoin. So it's really nice to just like sit on Sunday and just like debrief about like what life has been like. But I think it's been nice transitionally, because I have a lot of people around me, and having a lot of people around you like really helps you like feel more grounded, I think, and settle in faster than just like staying off and like just trying to navigate feeling a little shy. I would say like put yourself out there really because it really just helps you like adapt better and like feel more comfortable transitioning, and you don't really feel alone coming from like different places.
Great. Thank you so much. I'm reading some more questions. Some of these are ones that we've already answered or ones that might be better to send via email. So if we don't get to your question tonight, we will definitely be available over email, and I'll put the email in the chat. It's just questbridge@bowdoin.edu, really easy to remember. But try to make sure we get to as many of these as possible. Um, Could you tell us a little bit about classes at Bowdoin? Like what has been your favorite class so far?
I guess I'm going to change my favorite class now that I'm thinking of it. My favorite class was actually a cross list of my majors, which is not rare, but it's not common. I got to learn about the economic development of Japan, which was a cross list between Asian studies and economics. And it was more, I call these like more niche classes, which are really fun and they counted as like for your double major. Like I get credit for both of my majors. I really liked it just because it was just like the crossless of just two subjects that I was like, in an economic sense, I was like, this is the two of my favorite interests as like one class. And when I saw that it was offered and I knew the professor and she just taught it amazing. She also knew Japanese. So it was also really fun because sometimes she just starts speaking Japanese and it was just like so fun and cool. And we got to learn about like the history of Japan as well as looking at it from like an economics lens, which I feel like was so specialized that I was like, I wouldn't have gotten to learn this like anywhere else. So I really liked it because I like looking into like the lens of particular things and like studying it from that aspect. So that's where I really like my economic development of Japan class. But I don't know if they'll continue being offered. Um, my professor, favorite professor, she ended up leaving, but taught the class amazing. And I'm so glad I got the opportunity to take it with her.
That's awesome. Yeah. How big was that class? Was it like an average Bowdoin class size or was it larger, smaller?
So the economics department like pointed it out how there was just so many like 2000 level classes being offered that were all like so hyper specific, like specialized that kind of divided up the economic students into like, ooh, like what are we most interested in? So my class was actually smaller because there was just so many offered for 2000 and so many people were like tackling their different interests all at once. So if it was like two specialized classes, it would be a bit bigger. And by a bit bigger, I mean like going from just 8 people to probably 20. And my class was around 13 people, I think, if I remember correctly. This is bad because it was just a few months ago. But my class was relatively small, but it never felt like too small. But I really liked it because the teacher was like, it was like kind of like an intimate setting that made me feel like held accountable for like learning and being able to ask questions then and there. So I really liked the lecture style. But typically classes at Bowdoin can range anywhere from like 6 to 50 people, and by 50 people, it's typically your introductory classes, which you take mostly in your first year, like Psych 1101, Africana Studies 1101. But after that, once you get past the introductory classes, they start to dwell down in numbers and become an average size between 20 to like 8-ish. Yeah.
Great. And kind of keeping on that academic theme, couple questions about double majoring. How do you balance double majoring plus all of the other things that you want to do on campus? So social things, work, all that stuff.
Um, Balancing my double majors is not that hard because they're just so different. I like that I chose two separate majors that are so different in the humanities. Like for Asian studies, I'm mostly writing essays, and then for economics, I'm either doing problem sets or I'm writing essays. But I will say that the essays that I write for Asian studies and econ are so different. To write an economics paper, it's you have to follow a more like specific guideline, like the typical economics papers that you'll see. That's how you have to write them for the courses, which is like a great learning experience and like it helps you like with your writing styles. So it's really been easy to manage because my brain just switches off based on the subject. So it's been really nice for me. Sometimes I take classes where I will take like two econ classes and then an Asian studies class and then a random class that I just find interesting for the moment or that's offered for the semester. And I had a problem set for one of these econ classes, papers due, and two of the others, and just some assignments that were like very different in the other one. So all of them were just such different assignments due at such different times that I never felt like my workload was like overwhelming. But obviously for finals, no matter what, like even in high school, finals all come around the same time. But teachers do try to make sure that they're not kind of like lined up. But if they are lined up, you can tell your professor, like, I have two papers due at the same time. Can I have an extension? And if you ask them like well in advance or you're just like stressing out, like they will try to meet you halfway for any of those that like are curious about what finals is like. When you have a lot of things that are piling up, the teachers do try to like make sure that you're not stressed out and they can give like ample time to the like their assignment as well. So that's been really nice. And I had to do that for my finals this time because I had a lot around the same time, and every single one of my teachers was able to like navigate it with me, and I was not penalized in any way. It was really helpful for me. It's really easy, I think, depending on your double major, but if sometimes double majors may require more like problem sets or more labs for certain like subjects and like area focuses. For me, it's been a lighter load. Double majoring at Bowdoin is not uncommon at all. I think around like 52% of students have a one or more major. So I think it's like relatively popular to have a double major at Bowdoin. And it's I've been able to easily like manage my social life. I study with my friends in the library to like still socially and like academically be like combining it. For the weekends, I make sure that if I do have work on the weekends, I do it on Sunday morning. But typically I leave my Fridays and Saturdays to where I feel like I won't do any work. I'll try to make sure that I like have a good work-life balance so I'm not really like stressing to get work. And even if I do not like I do procrastinate, I never feel like my social life is compromised in any way. Like I'm always able to like catch back up in a way.
Great. And a couple questions of like that are sort of in the same theme of tell us something about Bowdoin that we wouldn't know from the website, which is kind of a really broad question and kind of a fun one, right? If someone was just starting to research Bowdoin, what is some, like an piece of insider knowledge you might be able to tell them about what it's like to be a student?
Oh gosh. That's a hard question.
Yeah.
Hmm. I guess one thing I'll speak on my friend that I thought was really interesting is in my first year dorm mate, she was writing her own book for fun. And one thing that I don't know if this applies to all colleges or maybe this doesn't answer the question, but she's been writing this book and she showed it to me and I thought it was really interesting. And she's here this summer. And I was like, oh, what are you doing here for the summer? And I thought she was doing summer research. And no, she's working side by side with a professor writing her book. And I just thought that was really like interesting because not knowing about Bowdoin is I didn't know how much they really help you like pursue your passions in more of like the research sense. Like for people they're like, oh yeah, it's a research like as school, but for me, I didn't really know like how research it was able to be like my friend or my current roommate this summer, she's researching like astrophysics and it's getting like to the point where it's like so like specialized that I was like, wow, and these professors are backing it up. They're providing her funding to go do all these cool things. So I guess the opportunities that like students are able to genuinely do are so interesting because my other roommate, because I had four, she got to work on a farm in our first year her first year summer and I was like, what? Like, how did you find this opportunity? She's like, I just talked to the off-campus study and then I also talked to our career development department and I was like, "What?" So, I guess that's something that I feel like people don't really see is just how specific that you can be in like what you can do because my friend got to whale watch last summer for her internship. And I was like, "What? That is just so like interesting like from astrophysics, whale watching to working on a farm to publishing her own book that she wrote. Like I just thought like that's just something that you don't really know about college until you get there. They really back you up. Like the college really backs up your passions. And I think that's something that is really apparent here because I'm jealous of them, like my friend publishing her own book and passions, and that's not what she's going to do for her career. That's just something that she's just interested in, which I think is really nice. And you do get funding for it too.
That is a very good answer to that question.
Oh,
When I was thinking about like what I would say for that question as someone who's an alum now, um, I think the thing that I was most surprised about at Bowdoin was sort of how much I would be outside and enjoying outside things. I think I loved kind of being outdoors when I was in high school, but I didn't have a lot of time for it. And I thought in college it'd be the exact same thing. But I think our location, so close to a lot of nature, so close to the ocean, and I was able to take advantage of that a lot more. And it really kind of calms you down in college, I think, when you've got a lot of stress going on, but there's beautiful trees around you and really fresh air. And something I love about Bowdoin is that it smells like the ocean when it rains. And that's also something you wouldn't know from the website. But the access to nature and how much you are able to access it. even though you're busy, even though you've got a lot of stuff going on. That was something that surprised me.
100%, I agree with that.
Great. Well, so many of the questions that were still open are ones that we've either already answered or are super specific. So I'm going to put an email address in the chat. So if you want to chat with us after this session, or you've got a question, definitely help you out with that. But email is probably the best way to go. I just put it in the chat for you. It's questbridge@bowdoin.edu. And there were a couple questions about whether or not we would send out a recording of the session. And yes, we'll have a recording available just in case you came in late, or you have a family member or a friend that was hoping to attend but couldn't. We'll have some more information available for everybody. But thank you so much to our fantastic panelists tonight. Thank you for taking some time out of your evening, Anastasia, to come join us.
Yeah.
And thank you everyone for also taking some time out of your evening. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us over email. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you, guys.